Hi, my name is Rebecca Lanahan. I'm with the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation, and I'm going to tell you about the Engineering Planning Grant, or EPG, program that provides funding to help municipalities get wastewater projects off the ground. Across the state, municipal officials are looking to take steps towards addressing their community's wastewater treatment issues. The first step is completing an engineering report. The report will identify any existing issues, evaluate alternatives to correct the issues, and propose a solution. With that information, a municipality can then move forward with the necessary changes or upgrades. An engineering report is generally required to apply for most funding and grant opportunities. The grant is capped at $100,000 and there is a 20% local match required. Successful applicants will be required to meet minority and women-owned business enterprises, equal employment opportunity, and service-disabled veteran-owned business program requirements. There is a limit of 2 open EPG awards at one time. This includes projects that have been awarded an EPG grant but have not yet had the report accepted or closed out the grant agreement with EFC. So if you currently have 2 EPG awards that are not closed and you wish to apply for another grant this year, you will need to ensure that one has been closed out by the application deadline so you will be eligible for another grant. There are 3 basic eligibility requirements. The applicant must be a municipality, the scope must be a wastewater or water quality improvement study, and the 2017 median household income for the municipality has to be equal to or less than $90,000 for the Long Island, New York City, and Mid-Hudson REDC regions, and equal to or less than $70,000 for the rest of the state. An income survey for the service area of the project that has been approved by EFC within the past 5 years may be used in place of the 2017 census data. Applicants need to meet all criteria to be eligible to apply for the grant. On the previous slide, I mentioned that the scope must be for a wastewater or water quality improvement study. Some examples of eligible projects include a new wastewater treatment plant, improvements or upgrades to an existing wastewater treatment plant, new disinfection requirements at a treatment plant, improvements to a collection system or pump station, regional consolidation of wastewater treatment plants, extension of an existing collection system to serve a new area, inflow and infiltration investigations and rehabilitation, mitigation of combined sewer overflows or sanitary sewer overflows, projects identified in a DEC-approved watershed implementation plan, separation of combined sanitary and storm sewer systems, new treatment or collection systems for areas with documented failing on-site septic systems, upgrade or replacement of existing systems, project scope identified in a long-term control plan, or another project related to a wastewater or water quality issue. The priority of this grant program is to correct an existing problem. Some of the funding priorities include projects required by an order on consent, projects required by a draft or final species permit, such as nutrient removal, inflow and infiltration, or disinfection, projects that will upgrade or replace an existing system, projects that will provide treatment or collection systems to alleviate areas with documented failing on-site septic systems, projects that will address a pollutant of concern in a DEC-approved watershed implementation plan, such as a total maximum daily load, or TMDL, a 9-element watershed plan, or a HAB action plan for algal blooms. Projects that address these types of issues will score well and are more likely to be funded. We provide 3 levels of grant awards depending on the size of your community or the type of project you're looking to fund. The 2 main categories are open to any wastewater infrastructure related type of project, but have 2 population categories. These population caps were lowered for the 2021 round, so more will be eligible for them. Communities with a population of 10,000 or less will receive up to $30,000. Communities with a population greater than 10,000 can receive up to $50,000. And the last level of $100,000 is for any size community, but is limited to funding inflow and infiltration studies that are required by a DEC order on consent or a species permit compliance schedule. Depending on the number of applications we receive, we may limit the grants to 1 municipality per round. So if you plan on submitting more than 1 application, one of the application questions will ask you to prioritize the projects. This slide is included to help clarify how the local match is calculated. The required 20% match is based on the amount of grant that you're applying for. So to receive a $50,000 grant, you must provide $10,000 in local match and have a total project cost of at least $60,000. And to receive a $30,000 grant, you must provide $6,000 in local match and have a total project cost of at least $36,000. The local match can be provided as either cash towards a planning cost, such as engineering planning services or investigative services, or as in-kind services, also known as force account. Force account can be either administrative or technical field work, and this is defined as municipal equipment or labor committed that would otherwise be paid from the project budget, and all costs must be approved by EFC. Engineering planning grants are advanced in two portions. Once the agreement is executed, the municipality will receive the first 50% of the grant upfront. The remaining portion of the grant will be paid once the engineering report has been accepted by DEC and EFC reviewers. You'll submit invoices and cost documentation at that time. After the awards are announced, the applicant will work with EFC to execute a grant agreement. There will be a checklist provided with your award letter with the items required to execute a grant agreement, which can be split up into 4 basic categories. 3 board resolutions for establishing an authorized representative to execute the grant agreement with EFC, a resolution committing the 20% local match, and a resolution evaluating seeker. Generally for a study, this is a type 2. You will need to execute a contract with an engineering consulting firm who will produce the engineering report. A copy of the agreement should be submitted to EFC. If the agreement is over $25,000, the EFC State Financial Assistant bid packet will need to be included in the contract. The third item on this list is compliance with MWBE, SDVOB, and EEO requirements. All engineering consultants will fill out an EEO staffing plan. If the contract is over $25,000, there's a 30% MWBE goal and a separate 6% SDVOB goal. The municipality and consultant will work together to prepare MWBE and SDVOB utilization plans or waivers, which will need to be approved by EFC's MWBE team in order to execute the grant agreement. The final item on this list is a 1-page budget and plan of finance Excel form. The project budget identifies all known and estimated costs for the preparation of an engineering report, as well as any in-kind services. Actual amounts should be used when available. The budget also includes a plan of finance that identifies all sources of monies expected to fund the total cost of the preparation of the engineering report, including the required local match. This includes the estimated amount of EFC grant and the municipal contribution. These 4 items will need to be submitted and approved by EFC before we can execute a grant agreement. The grant agreement needs to be executed within 6 months of the award. Engineering planning grant terms are based on the dollar amount awarded. The first 2 grant levels, $30,000 and $50,000, have a 2-year grant term, which begins when the grant agreement is executed. The third grant level, $100,000, as I mentioned earlier, is only given to inflow and infiltration projects required by a consent order or compliance schedule. So due to the nature of the study and required field investigations, these are allotted 3-year grant terms. Please ensure your engineering report is submitted electronically to EFC no later than 6 months prior to the grant agreement expiration in order to allow time for the joint agency review, coordination of any comments, and grant closeout. The report funded by the EPG program must follow the EFC DEC engineering report outline. The outline was created to promote comprehensive engineering evaluation so that applicants can make informed decisions about their projects. Some of the standard sections you'll see in the outline are project background, existing conditions, environmental considerations, and a few of the bigger items listed on this slide that we want to emphasize. The report must include an alternatives analysis and a capital improvement project recommendation. If you're studying a large collection system area, consider focusing on a smaller study area so you can complete investigations and make a full recommendation for a capital project. We won't be able to accept a report that simply concludes further study is required before a project can be recommended. The report must include a cost estimate, a target schedule, energy efficiency measures, and projects that involve stormwater or inflow must include a green infrastructure alternative. All reports must include resiliency and floodplain considerations. We have two requirements that were added to the most recent outline this past fall, which are the consideration of impacts on environmental justice areas and detailed location maps showing the overall surface area, existing project site, and proposed improvements. We'll tell you about these on the next two slides. And you can find the latest version of the outline on EFC's website. Your engineering report should describe how your project will impact an environmental justice area and include a map in the report appendix. We recommend using DEC's Info Locator tool, which is a map found at the link shown below that has layers for different parameters such as environmental justice, water body information, and SPDES permits. The other new requirement in the engineering report outline is a section for maps and figures to help all involved parties understand the definition of the project. Engineering reports must provide a series of maps, drawings, or figures that detail information regarding the site, the proposed project, and any impacts. Examples of these include a map of the overall surface area, showing the entire municipality and how your system relates to any other involved municipalities. Maps or figures of the existing project site and layout, including boundaries of any sewer sheds. And maps or figures illustrating the proposed improvements for each alternative and calling out any past or future projects and how they relate to the current project. The goal of the EPG program is to help municipalities complete project planning in order to advance the project to construction and finance the capital project with EFC or other funding agencies. After your EPG is completed, you can come to EFC for financing the design and construction phases. In order to be eligible for EFC financing, the project must first be listed on EFC's Intended Use Plan, or IUP, by the end of the listing period. Only two documents are required to list a project: the engineering report and the Smart Growth Assessment Form, which is part of the report outline. Keep an eye out on EFC's website for more information on the current year's listing deadlines and instructions for listing the project through PLUS, which is our project listing and update system. The Engineering Planning Grant Program is offered through the New York State's Consolidated Funding Application, or CFA, which can be found at the link below. This year, applications will be due on July 30th, 2021 at 4 p.m. Late applications are not accepted. Thank you for watching. Please visit EFC's website for more information on the program, including the full program overview. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions.